Well, greetings and welcome to this webcast. My name is Jonathan Foust. I am delighted to have you here. And this exploration that lies ahead, I've got some kind of cool stuff. This will be a pretty experiential process ahead, exploring how to bring loving presence into the body. All part of this series on embodied awareness. So, thank yous. Glenn Harrison, IMCW, support and bringing all this forward. I'm very grateful. A big thank you to Rita Moran for Mindful Movement, which starts at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time if you'd like to tap into that before this talk. And a big thank you to Ray Manioki and others who are leading Mindful Dialogue afterward, which is an opportunity to connect with like-minded people, share about your practice, about the talk, all in the spirit of bringing community together. So big thank you. Those links for Mindful Movement and Mindful Dialogue are available on my website and on my Facebook page. This is all offered freely. Thank you for your support. The whole idea here is no one's denied access to these practices and teachings, so thank you for any way you feel called, whether it's just to give yourself more deeply to your practice, which maybe is the greatest gift, but if you also want to make a donation, thanks. I do have a weekly email that goes out giving you an update as to what's coming up, and usually like month or every other month I offer kind of a compendium of talks, resources, and all my best photography for that period of time. So you can sign up for that in my website. So gosh, I think that's it. Let's start with a short meditation as a way of kind of gathering attention, and then we'll dive into this talk. So you might like to close your eyes. That's always a good way to start a meditation. And with your eyes closed, just take a moment and if you would, just sort of get a snapshot of this moment, how things feel on the inside. Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling energized? Are you feeling numb? Are you feeling hypervigilant? Are you feeling anxious? Or are you feeling maybe a little bit of peace inside? Just taking a snapshot and recalling this practice of mindfulness, non-judging awareness, simply aware of what's here. And you might sense as well if you could bring just a little bit of kindness to this, a little bit of empathy. This is it. This is what the cards have dealt you right now. And now, if you would, let your body stretch in any way that feels good. You're deeply asking your body, what do you need right now? What would feel good? What would feel enlivening? You might let your body sway a little bit from side to side. And then, if you like, as a way of gathering your attention a little more in the here and now, you might begin to deepen and slow down your breath. One way to consider this is inhaling slowly to the count of 4, and then exhaling slowly to the count of 4. No pause in between, just continuous flow of breath. What happens when you match the length of the in-breath with the length of the out-breath? You may notice how quickly your mind wanders away from concentration and focus. That's totally fine. That's what the mind does. But for the next minute, explore these two questions. Is it possible to sharpen your attention? And is it possible to relax even more? This formula of deep relaxation with concentration is a powerful tool. At any point now, you might release any control of the breath. Let your breath be free-flowing. And feel the effortlessness of your breathing. No effort required. Let the body breathe by itself. And as you feel your body breathe, can you sense who you are as the one who is aware of the breathing? As I breathe in, I'm aware of breathing in. And as I breathe out, I am aware of breathing out. It might be helpful to acknowledge the mind. The mind is a story manufacturing machine. The mind is designed to make sure you're safe, to anticipate danger, to evaluate your experience. Here you're not trying to control the mind. You're just noticing the movement of the mind and sensing who you are as the one who is aware of the mind. The breath breathes by itself. The mind generates content by itself. Is it possible to sense who you are as the observer, as the witness to what's changing? From time to time, you might refresh these questions. Is there anything that could soften right now? Is there anything that could relax inside right now? How intimately can I feel the breath on the inside right now? Can I sense who I am as the observer of everything that arises and falls away? Can I let things be? As many times as your mind may wander into narrative, into planning, reviewing, judging, that many times you can notice and bring your attention back to the here and now, to soften, to relax, to receive the moment just as it is, this breath. I am aware of breathing in. I am aware of breathing out. I am aware of what is changing. I am aware of letting things be just as they are. Is there a sense of what could relax or soften right now? Is there a sense of what might let go a little more right now? In this remaining minute or so, you might explore a very interesting part of practice, which is this practice of resting in presence. Letting go of the anchor of the breath. Letting go of any control or manipulation of your experience. And to relax. To relax even more, and at the same time, to simply feel. To notice what's here, what's changing. Just as the breath breathes by itself, your inner experience opens into a sense of flow. Is it possible to let everything be exactly as it is? You might gently deepen your breath. Notice the sounds around you. And again, if just for a moment, to sense who you are as the observer of all that changes. Your capacity to let things be just as they are. And in your own time, let your body move, let your body stretch, taking this time to begin your transition. And welcome back. If you watch the webcast, or listen to the webcast, you'll notice that I always offer an invitation to join Mindful Dialogue with Ray Manioki afterward. Ray's been leading Mindful Dialogue for many, many years, and he's also an incredible teacher, dedicated teacher of the Dharma. And I want to take a few minutes just to kind of catch you up on Ray. A few weeks ago, he was visiting his mother in Florida and was having bad headaches and low energy. He went to the doctor, and after an MRI, they found a mass. And fortunately, he was able to get into Johns Hopkins, where they performed surgery, and they removed a mass from his brain, and they're now exploring next steps. Ray is an amazing guy. And Ray is being Ray. He's incredibly upbeat. He's always looking for the good. And I thought we might take a few moments just to send him some good juju. Thank you, Ray, and so many blessings to you. I don't know about you, but have you noticed a lot more sickness, old age, and death in your life? Maybe it's just my age, but it does seem that many people in my life are encountering physical challenges. I'd like to talk about a couple things, kind of inspired by Ray's experience and the experience of other people close in. The first thing is just an exploration of what exactly is healing? What does healing mean? I'd like to offer a follow-up to the talk I gave last week on the chakras, on these energy centers, energy vortexes inside, and how to bring a sense of metta, of loving kindness, to these energy centers. And another practice on how to hold your body in loving presence. We just hold the body in so much contempt. And I find embodied metta, embodied loving kindness, can be really powerful. And along those lines, I'd like to talk about as well what it's like to kinesthetically investigate these qualities of the immeasurables. What does it mean to kinesthetically feel kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity? When I hear people talking about beating cancer, they beat cancer, I'm going to beat cancer, I never really understood that. Because it really implies that we actually have some kind of dominion over nature. And also it implies if cancer wins, somehow you lost. Obviously, there are radical and aggressive procedures like surgery, radiation, chemotherapy that actually do make a tremendous difference when you're dealing with something like cancer. But I think there's also something underneath it, which is about listening and working in cooperation with the body. Another dear person in my life has gone through incredible challenges, and this week who passed, Sandra Albert. She did the Year of Living Mindfully, and for the last 7 years, dealing with breast and ovarian cancer. Being present to her journey, and the honor to be present for a bit of her journey. How she stayed so open, how she stayed curious and engaged. Having a wonderful community, a devoted husband and family. How even despite all of the challenges she was going through, this deep commitment to give back. Teaching yoga to children with cancer, doing everything she could to be fully awake in her life. And in her passing this week, I do not see any defeat whatsoever. And it really brings up a question for me of what does it mean to be healed? What does it mean to be whole? My friend Roland Griffiths, who was one of the pioneers of psychedelic research at Johns Hopkins, this last year when he was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, he embraced it as an opportunity to wake up. Part of it was addressing all of his unfinished business. He very much wanted to have an endowed chair at Johns Hopkins that was dedicated to the exploration of psilocybin and other substances on contemplative practices, not just in healing, but really what does it mean to explore consciousness using these and how to quantify it. But he also set aside time to be with his family, to visit with friends, to turn his attention toward the process of dying. He was still struggling with discomfort, but I had the chance a couple days before he passed have a couple hours of being with him. And his eyes were just ablaze with, I think the best word is passion. So healing doesn't mean not suffering. It doesn't mean not dying or not getting sick. I think it implies that we can feel whole and we can feel healed in any moment, maybe. Or at least we can attend to equanimity. Equanimity is considered the kind of the fruit of a meditation practice. It's the capacity to be fully present no matter what the externals. To be fully awake no matter what's happening outside or inside. It's not just about training ourselves to look for the good, it's about training ourselves to be the awareness itself, to be that non-judging, non-grasping, non-comparing awareness. So along those lines, along the lines of looking for the good and attuning to what it means to feel whole, I'd like to share a couple experiences that might be of interest for you. So much of our practice, of course, is about overcoming the built-in negativity bias. How our minds are constantly scanning for danger. How we are dedicated to self-preservation, the small self-preservation. And how we are caught in judgment and blame and how we hold our bodies in contempt. The body is never fast enough, it's never smart enough, it's never good looking enough, it's never vibrant enough. Last week I offered a meditation on the chakras, the energy centers, these energy vortexes inside, and I thought I might offer a meditation here, again visiting these energy centers and exploring bringing metta or loving kindness to each of these body parts. Now, as I've shared before, and as you may know through the practice of loving kindness, the practice of metta, or loving kindness, requires that you keep improvising. Because the idea here is that it's not just the thought of kindness, it's the experience of kindness. It's not just the thought of care, it's the experience of care. So we have to stay open, we have to improvise in the practice. What I'd like to do is to offer a practice of using breath and bringing attention to particular parts inside, and then we'll just see what happens. Now, each of these energy centers has certain qualities that relate to consciousness, that relate to how you experience life. When we're shut down, we can feel that inner clench, we can feel that less than aliveness. And I'm going to be offering, as you breathe, to kind of breathe in the sense of possibility that might be here. This may not resonate for you at all, which is totally fine, or there might be something helpful here. But before we begin, just want to thank you for your openness in this practice. This is not too long. Helpful to do this with your eyes closed, but if you're driving or if you're walking, you can just sort of cast your eyes down and just sense, if it's possible, to notice whatever you may feel in this practice. So you might find it helpful to reach your arms up overhead, to kind of stretch out, to adjust your posture in any way you can. Take a little bit of time just to explore this quality of receptivity. There's also something here, I think I mentioned this last talk, but it's a very cool turn of phrase called kinesthetic intuition. I'm sorry, not kinesthetic intuition. Kinesthetic imagination. And that is to sort of like imagine and open to feeling, and just to notice what might arise as you're moving from thoughts into embodied awareness. So you might like to just feel your breath for a few moments here. And I'd like to invite you to bring your attention to the base of the spine, to kind of the floor of the pelvis. And as you kind of hold your attention here, just let your breath be full and deep and smooth. You might acknowledge the legs down to the soles of the feet. And just sensing a quality perhaps of groundedness. Letting yourself explore what arises with the following words. As I breathe in, I am aware of my connection to the universe. As I breathe out, I feel my roots deepen and strengthen. As I breathe in, I am aware of my connection to the universe. As I breathe out, I feel my roots deepen and strengthen. I am grounded and secure. I am rooted in love. You might very gently now shift your attention somewhere here a little below the navel, maybe 2 inches below the navel, right in the center of the abdomen. But allow yourself to kind of feel wherever your awareness might settle here. This seat of creativity, of emotion, of passion. As I breathe in, I welcome aliveness, pleasure, and joy. As I breathe out, I relax and release and let go. As I breathe in, I welcome aliveness and pleasure and joy. As I breathe out, I relax and release and let go. I allow myself to feel creativity, emotion, and passion. Letting your attention now move up to the solar plexus, to the diaphragm, just below the rib cage, in the center of the torso. This center of manifestation, of expression. And here, as I breathe in, I'm aware of energy and creative, positive change in my life. As I breathe out, I release unnecessary doubt and fear. As I breathe in, I'm aware of energy and creative, positive change in my life. As I breathe out, I release unnecessary doubts and fears. My confidence is fueled with love and compassion. Shifting your attention now to the heart, the center of the chest, the seat of love, compassion. As I breathe in, I open to giving and receiving. As I breathe out, I connect with loving awareness. As I breathe in, I open to giving and receiving. As I breathe out, I connect with loving awareness. I release fear and allow love to heal and transform me. Letting your attention now move into the throat, this center of truth. And here, as I breathe in, I open to inner truth. As I breathe out, I allow truth to be fully expressed. As I breathe in, I open to inner truth. As I breathe out, I allow truth to be fully expressed. I speak with love, truth, and kindness toward myself and others. And shifting your attention now to between the eyes and in toward the center of the head, this seat of insight, of intuition. Sensing the quality of feeling here. As I breathe in, I open to inner wisdom. As I breathe out, I rest in presence. As I breathe in, I open to inner wisdom. As I breathe out, I rest in presence. I am open to receiving inspiration and insight. I dedicate my insights to the benefit of myself and all beings. Shifting your attention now to the crown of the head, or slightly above the crown of the head, this seat of deep alignment. As I breathe in, I open to the light of loving awareness. As I breathe out, I relax and let go even more. As I breathe in, I open to the light of loving awareness. As I breathe out, I relax and let go even more. I am aligned with loving presence. In these final minutes, you might again let your attention move to the base of the spine, to the floor of the pelvis. As you breathe in, can you feel your connection to presence, to the universe, to the mystery? As you breathe out, can you feel or imagine these roots deepening and strengthening? Can you feel or imagine a sense of feeling grounded and secure, rooted in love and presence? And sensing into the belly, perhaps a little below the navel and toward the center. As you breathe in, can you imagine welcoming more aliveness and pleasure and joy in your life? As you breathe out, can you imagine relaxing and releasing and letting go? Can you imagine feeling even more creativity, making room for emotion and passion in your life? And as you bring your attention to the solar plexus, to the diaphragm, as you breathe in, can you imagine being more aware of energy and creative, positive change in your life? Can you imagine as you breathe out, releasing doubt and fear, and feeling confidence fueled with love, with compassion? Sensing the heart. As you breathe in, can you imagine opening even more to giving and receiving in your life? And as you breathe out, is it possible to connect even more with this presence of loving awareness? Can you imagine the falling away of doubt and fear and allowing more love that can heal and transform you? As you sense the space inside the throat, as you breathe in, is it possible to open even more to truth, to inner truth? And as you breathe out, to allow that truth to be fully expressed in your life. To speak with love and truth and kindness toward yourself and others. And sensing the center of the head between the eyes, this seat of intuition, of insight. And can you imagine here, as you feel, as you breathe in, opening even more to inner wisdom? And as you breathe out, resting in this quality of presence. Can you imagine opening even more to receiving inspiration and insight in your life? And dedicating your insights to benefit yourself and all beings without distinction. And as you sense the crown of the head, or slightly above the crown of the head, as you breathe in, can you imagine opening even more into the light of loving awareness? As you breathe out, can you imagine relaxing and letting go even more into this quality of presence? Can you imagine being even more aligned with loving awareness? And in these final moments, As you feel the breath, is it possible to feel everything inside? Any qualities of vibration, of tingling, of subtle energy? Deeply relaxed, at the same time alert, at the same time open and aware. If you like, you can deepen your breath. Letting your body move and shift in any way that feels good, or just continuing to rest here in presence. Just sensing any cumulative effect of this practice of sensing what full aliveness feels like for you. To remind yourself what wholeness feels like. If you like, you can open your eyes or remain with them closed. I had mentioned in the past that I'm working on a companion program for people with chronic pain. And I'm hoping it might be kind of a warm and loving voice to accompany those who are struggling. And as I work with my own growth opportunities with chronic pain, it certainly brought to mind some different strategies for how to work with it. And I just want to thank Allison for giving me some incredibly excellent feedback on my outline. I had laid out my thoughts in about 12 chapters, if you will, and she astutely pointed out that the first one really should be, what do you do when it's just too much? And as soon as she pointed that out, I thought, of course. In the last 3 days, I've been beset with yet another round of a chronic condition I have with my neck. Radiating pain up into my head. It just shuts a lot down. And there I was, very recently, 3 a.m, feeling, I think this is too much. I don't know if I can be with this. And with all the strategies we have for healing and feeling more whole, all the different techniques, sometimes there's no fixing. There's just bearing with what's here. As I was working with this really intense pain, I started, as I often do, with a body scan. And I was doing kind of an inventory of the growth opportunities I've had living in my body. As the Buddha would say, living in my fathom-long body. Again, sometimes when we are in really deep pain, all we can do is just sense what it's like to be with it. But there are some times when we have other ways of focusing on what it would mean to heal. I'd mentioned in the past having a gratitude list I did once. I said I'm going to write down 10 things I'm grateful for every day, and I can't repeat myself. And one of the profound insights I had was, as I was running out of things I was grateful for, I was listing the individual body parts that don't hurt. And there was really something to that. So I'd like to explore a little bit around how to explore bringing a sense of deep gratitude and healing to the body. As I did my little inventory the other night, just sort of scanning through my body, I started at the crown of my head and I reflected on the concussions I've had from bike riding, scanning down a corneal scratch I had from wrestling, down to my teeth, my root canals, the wisdom teeth extracted, into my neck, my long history of neck pain, long distance bike riding, and I think what I may have done to my neck there in college, driving tractors for hours on end, not listening to my body and getting caught in tech neck, scanning down my spine, an injury I had at 15, when I was working on the farm, trying to pick up a sack of feed that weighed as much as I did. My hands, innumerable cuts and gouges and broken fingers. My lungs, colds, my experience with pneumonia. My rib cage, fracturing 2 ribs, and then thinking I was doing better, going out, refracturing them. My stomach, life of stomach churning anxiety. My gut, amoebic dysentery in Africa, taking Flagyl to knock out the bugs, which was way worse than the dysentery. Lower back pain, knee pain that comes and goes. A couple of times when I broke a bone in my foot, having dengue fever when I was in Africa, anaphylactic shock after a bee sting. My life of not listening to my body, times of overriding what I knew my body was telling me, times of holding my body in contempt. Just realizing as I did this body scan just how much I wasn't listening to my body and how much my body was really, really trying to serve me as best it could. There is a healing modality. It's a Hawaiian healing modality. You may be familiar with this. I don't even want to pronounce it because I know I'm going to screw it up. But it's a very, very interesting element because it draws on 4 elements. It draws on love. It draws on repentance. It draws on forgiveness. And it draws on gratitude. There's a whole story behind this, and I'll spare you the story because I think going directly into the experience might be helpful. But there are 4 phrases. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. And as I did my own body scan, of going directly to that body part and just saying, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me and thank you. I could feel a quality of healing. And I'd like to offer this in the time we have left. So essentially you'll be recalling a body part, kind of sensing what's there. You might reflect on how it may have been injured or ignored or not listened to. And then offering the phrases to simply say, I love you. And there's something very weird about that phrase because we have so much baggage around the words, but try to focus on the kinesthetic feeling of just holding something in loving awareness. And then the phrase, I'm sorry, to let a sense of empathy flow. Please forgive me. And just sense if you could be forgiven, what would that feel like? And gratitude. Love, repentance, forgiveness, and gratitude. So if you like, you can close your eyes. Or again, if you can't close your eyes, just sort of imagine this inside. And you might just feel your head, muscles of the face, the back of the head, and the neck. Just sensing this whole region of the body. And you might just gently repeat the following phrases. And sense what feeling follows. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And feeling the shoulders, the arms, the hands. Just reflecting on your experience through this lifetime, how this part of the body has been here to serve you. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Sensing now the upper torso, the lungs and the heart, the rib cage, the mid-back, the upper back. Again, just reflecting on your life experience. Offering these words and tracking any felt sense that flows. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. And sensing now the belly, the lower back, the buttocks, floor of the pelvis. Sensing all the inner organs. And as you breathe, just taking a few moments to reflect on your life experience here. Any ways that you may have been not listening. Offering the following words, tracking any felt sense that flows. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. And sensing now the hips, down through the legs, the knees, down through the ankles, tops of the feet and the toes, soles of the feet and the heels. Again, just recalling your experience here through this life. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. Now you might just sense the whole body. You might connect with your breath. And as you breathe, notice if you can open your attention to the entire realm of feeling inside. Is there anywhere inside that's calling for some attention? Any particular part of the body that might like to be held in love, repentance, forgiveness, and gratitude? You might do this generally, or you might move your attention directly to any part of the body that's calling for attention right now. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. If you like, you might begin to deepen your breath, let your body move or stretch, or just allow yourself to rest in presence. The capacity to call on loving presence. The capacity to feel compassion, a quality of, you might call it repentance, but it's really that genuine sense of, I'm so sorry. The capacity to ask for forgiveness, to be grateful for this moment, powerful healing forces. When we open to awareness, we start to see into the nature of awareness itself. And when you open to compassion, you start to see into the nature of compassion itself. And you may sense how when you feel compassion, when you feel kindness, joy, it's impossible to measure how big it gets. Quite often, of course, we're hijacked from the experience of embodied presence, from the experience of embodied compassion. Anger, judgment, blame, distraction, fantasy, anxiety, sloth and torpor, doubt, self-judgment, they're all these elements that choke off our capacity to be present. But when you can remember, then things begin to flow. Then there can be this possibility of feeling whole. It doesn't necessarily mean that pain goes away. But what it can imply is that you can increase your capacity to be with what's there. Sometimes it's easier to tune in to these qualities when we think of the suffering of someone close to us. And as our final little reflection, if you like, once again, you can close your eyes or cast your eyes down. And you might think of someone right now who's going through a difficult time. And as you think of their struggles right now, just notice what feeling flows or emerges on the inside. And you might, in your own way, wish them well. You might, if just for a few moments, just sense who they are when they are happy and alive and vibrant. And imagine you could hold them in that quality of presence, to see and feel the good. Imagine this person happy, at peace. No matter what their experience may be, imagine them free from stress. And you might, if you can sense that feeling, offer it to yourself. And imagine it spreading out in all directions. May all beings everywhere, without distinction, feel whole, free, happy, and fully alive. When you're ready, you can deepen your breath. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I truly hope that you found some benefit in these practices. So much pain, so much stress, so much suffering in this world right now. May we all find ways to be with it and to feel whole, no matter what's happening outside us or what's happening inside. Many blessings in your practice.